Hello, here we are again. HS2, something I found interesting. It was all over the news. Rishi Sunak's been criticised for not extending it up to Manchester, or talking about not extending it up to Manchester. Um, so I thought I'd have a look and see what this is, what it costs, what the advantages or disadvantages would be of it. So the costs. When it was first introduced, 2015, they talked about 55 billion pounds, and now that's gone up to anywhere around 98 billion pounds. And I wonder where the money had gone. What caused it to jump by such a massive amount? Obviously, inflation's part of it. Some environmental problems they came across when they were doing it as well. But something else I found, which I thought was interesting, the senior officer of the company that's actually putting this thing together, he's paid himself £10 million. That's not a lot out of the billions that we've been talking about, but it's still a fair chunk of cash. I wouldn't mind having I wouldn't mind £10 million going to my bank account. The senior executives of the company have totaled 49, nearly £50 million that they've been paid in bonuses and pay packages, apparently. And I was wondering who put together the contract with them, because presumably it was contracted out and people had to bid to do this construction. And there was no, obviously, there's been no penalty involved if they went over budget. Uh, well, at least that's the way it seems to me. I mean, they seem to be saying, "Well, just give us more money, we'll do another 100 yards," instead of actually at the beginning costing it out properly. It seems to me they tried to go in on the cheap, and there's no financial penalty for them to do so. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an economist. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't know the potential problems they come up with, and it just seemed a bit curious to me. That was all. I thought these are questions that probably somebody could be asking, and indeed, some newspapers are asking the questions. And where I found this information out, I will put in the link down there. Okay. So HS2 itself, what's the benefits of it? Well, I looked at the trains that I'll be using on there, and they're pretty fast. They can go at 400 miles an hour, which basically means it halves the time to get from Manchester to Birmingham, if they ever get around to building it, and London to Birmingham. So I can see some advantages to that. It means the commuter belt for London will be extended out. It'll be a lot easier to get into London without using a car and the dreaded emissions tax that they've stuck on people down there. But that's another video. Um, and of course, they're talking about not extending it up to Manchester, which was the original plan. Now, that seems a very strange decision to me. I mean, the North, without a shadow of a doubt, has been neglected by this and other governments. It's not just the Tories, I think it goes across Labour as well. They seem to ignore the North completely. Anything north of Birmingham, forget about it. And it seems a shame. I think it needs boosting up there. They need to have the infrastructure put in. The various Labour mayors in Manchester are screaming that they want this thing up there. And it seems to me that the government and the Labour Party are flip-flopping on this. Keir Starmer won't say he's definitely going to bring it in if he comes in next time. He's going to look at the figures. Rishi Sunak is saying about the figures again. He's not sure if he can afford to do it. But I don't see how he can afford not to. I mean, what happens now if they don't finish it? I mean, all that money that they spent already on it. I mean, I don't know how much they spent up to now. Um, couldn't find that. This seems to be a national secret. But, or I wasn't looking in the right place. But it does seem to me to be very well. It's just if you're going to do something like this, get on with it. Just get on with it. Just get it done. I mean, say nothing of the people that found themselves having to sell up or being compulsory purchased. And if it just doesn't go through, what happens then? They've moved, they've been had all the turmoil, and they've lost their houses, etc. And nobody seems to care very much. Um, it seems to me that the whole thing is very London centric or southeast centric. Um, everything flows to London. Well, why can't some of it flow northward? I don't understand. It's just beyond my capability of working out. I mean, I've heard politicians talking on the television about this constantly, and they're all about the northern powerhouse and God knows what, but nobody's doing anything about it. It just seems to be a lot of rhetoric with nothing substantial coming out of it from any of the parties. Uh, everything's aimed at the southeast or the southwest, and nothing is aimed further north. I mean, that's why you can buy a house in Manchester or um, Newcastle or Leeds for probably a third of the price you pay in London and the southwest, which isn't fair. I mean, the infrastructure just doesn't seem to be important to these people. They talk about it, they do nothing about it. And it's one of those things that I must admit, it gets my goat. I mean, it's all very well saying that you can get, if they do finish it, you can get from Birmingham to London in 40 minutes. Well, that's great. I'm retired. I don't travel to London anymore, or not very much north except to go and see my son in Leeds. Um, and if the trains were cheaper, I would use them. But again, that's another entire video on the difference in pricing between here and the continent, where you can travel around very reasonably for a lot cheaper price and more reliably, it seems to me. The amount of money they're spending on this, I mean, you could upgrade the entire network, I would have thought. Again, I haven't got any figures and I can't find any, but I would have thought that £98 billion would be enough to actually upgrade the entire network that we've already got. Perhaps add a few branch lines as well. But that isn't even being considered. Apparently, the trains they're using can be used on conventional lines if the lines are upgraded. And they all need upgrading, let's face it, they need electrifying if nothing else, especially down the southeast, southwest, um, Devon, places like that. They need to be upgraded and they need to be electrified. Now, surely if the money was put in there, it could do the same job. Should the National Rail Network come back under governmental control? Do we get rid of this small independence? That's another video, isn't it, really? Okay, that's my ramble for today. Like and subscribe, please, if you feel like it. And I'll try and any suggestions you want, please put them in the comments below. I do look at them when I get a chance, and I'll find something else to ramble on about at a future date. Have a good day to you all.